guys, it is Wednesday now. I filmed the video this morning and I just got off a call with Carolyn, which is so nice to catch up. We haven't chatted in a little bit and I love talking to her. Really missed her face, and we have some exciting things coming soon. Yeah, soonish, you know, we can use that word. Okay, in terms of reading updates, I wanted to talk about If We Were Villains a little bit by ML Rio, because I am now 90 pages of the way through. So basically, I don't know where to start. Let's start with like the Shakespeare of this Shakespeare Dark Academia book. I believe I've said before what it's about, but basically on every single page almost, I would say, there is a Shakespeare quote that someone is reciting or saying to kind of slide in and fit with the situation or the scene. And I feel like a lot of people could take that as a very cringy aspect of this novel, especially at certain parts where like it's just not really feasible or kind of relevant or something. Like we just had a scene where someone almost died basically, and then one of our guys, Alexander, is shouting out a line from, where is it? Because I did actually decide to mark them all and write in the margins what Shakespeare play is from. I want to see if basically she quotes every single Shakespeare play. Yes, he quotes Macbeth, which to be fair was the play they just performed, but it was just really strange. So I don't know, like sometimes I love them, sometimes I hate it. It's kind of this weird mix. I also don't think there need to be that many quotes because it's legitimately almost every single page that someone says something, and like it's very clear, it's very abundant how much she respects and loves Shakespeare, and this book is definitely making me want to get more into Shakespeare and read all the plays that they're quoting. They're great quotes, obviously Shakespeare's great, but I just don't think it's needed all the time, and I think sometimes it kind of subtracts from her story and from her narrative when she's just spitballing and using all of Shakespeare to tell her story. I think there needs to be a little bit less of that, but for the most part, I'm okay with it. I think on the whole, I am still really liking it. It's very dark, very atmospheric. There's a lot of bad stuff going on, so much tension and so many different kinds of tension between our 7 players who are all 4th year undergraduate students studying at Mediocre observatory, so that's cool. More than that, a cool scene that I did like just happened in that they performed Macbeth on Halloween on the beach, randomly on the beach. Don't really know why it was on the beach. Not really sure if I enjoyed the beach venue for Macbeth, but it was a thing that they decided to do. Anyway, the kind of cool thing with that is that they are assigned their Macbeth roles, and then they're not allowed to tell anyone who they got and who they're playing, and then they have to go in and act out the play, basically meeting their counterparts and their fellow actors in their roles for the first time, which is like a very intimate, spooky, cool thing, so that was interesting. Also, I love James and Oliver. Like, I just want them to be happy and together and happy, and I don't think that's gonna happen because there's a lot of dark stuff going on, a lot of problems within this little tightly knit group of 7. Everyone's ego is so big, kind of. Maybe not Oliver's, because Oliver's kind of a sweetheart. That's If We Were Villains. I am still liking it. I'm only 90 pages through though, so that is that. Good morning, guys. Welcome to Wednesday. I'm just about to sit down and do some yoga right here. I've decided to try to start today as the first day of yoga with Adrian's 30-day yoga challenge thing. 30 days of yoga. I'm doing the one called Home. Yeah, that's the one. I think I might also start doing like a whole video about it, or like a whole video trying the 30-day yoga challenge. I keep saying challenge, I don't think it's actually a challenge, but that's what I'm about to do. It is almost 11, and after that I'm probably gonna make some breakfast and get reading a little bit. I've been trying to read a little bit, like literally 2 pages every hour of the day, and see if my concussion you know, likes that. So that's what I've been doing with that, but it is very hot in here, so I'm gonna get this yoga out of the way, maybe do a really quick session of meditation after, I'm not sure, but that is what I'm about to do. Feeling very relaxed already, so this might just put me back to sleep, but Hey guys, it is now a lot later in the day. It turned into a very cozy, rainy day, so I made some green tea, and I've been finishing a lot of books this week and this morning, but I just keep feeling like I'm having a really mediocre start to the month because I finished Jade City, I finished You, and I finished Happiness this morning as well, and I'm almost done Dark Matter, but I've basically have given, and I'm going to give them all a very generous 3 stars each, and I just really haven't been enjoying my time in the worlds that they offered me, or in their prose, or in their characters. I haven't felt attached to probably any of the people in any of these books, and it's just been kind of disappointing. Like, objectively, they're not bad books or bad stories, but I'm just not loving them. So yeah, I just haven't been having a great time with the audiobooks that I've been reading, but for the physical books like If We Were Villains and Autobiography of Red, which I'm still reading, I'm having a really good time, so I guess it kind of balances out. But I'm hoping that some of the audiobooks I have coming in very soon will be a lot better. Right now I'm just literally sitting on the floor in this little cozy corner with my plants and stuff, and I've got a lot of snacks on the ground because it's very cool down here. So my really hesitant small plan was to finish Dark Matter today. I don't know if that's gonna happen, but I kind of just want to get it over with because it's really not that great. I thought it was gonna be a really cool sci-fi. You guys know I love sci-fi. I just don't happen to read it a lot because I've read basically all the sci-fi books I own, and I never seem to find any, or even any on Libby or anything like that, but Dark Matter just seems like it wasn't what I wanted, and it's not what I was looking for, and I'm sad because it was really popular, really hyped, and I'm not loving it at all. So yeah. Hey, it is Friday now, actually. Wow, this week I've been really busy, and I haven't really sat down for a while to talk to you guys, and I just feel like I really wanted to have a pretty decently long sit-down chit-chat with you because, like I said, I've been so busy. I've been working on a lot of other videos this week, and I feel like I haven't been able to work on the vlog as much as I would have liked to. So here I am. I thought I would get things a little bit cozy. I've got my last cup of coffee of the day. When I say last, I really only mean second cup, so it's fine. I have a lot of books to talk about. I got some more book mail. I finished some more books. I started some more books that I'm loving. I have a lot to talk about in terms of books and life things and just everything. So I think this is going to turn into a very long video clip, so feel free to pause, take some time, grab some snacks, some drinks, and yeah. If you kind of wanted to skip around or navigate this little chit chat, I'm gonna talk about Dark Matter by Blake Crouch, which I finished, and then I'm probably going to talk about Jade City and You and some other books I finished very recently, only for a little brief amount of time. I'm going to talk about the books I started. I want to talk a little bit about If We Were Villains. I want to talk about Autobiography of Red. I want to talk about the book mail I got. I want to update you guys on all of my new kind of listings and holds for audiobooks, in case anyone wants recommendations, or if you guys know, or if you guys know which ones I should read or listen to first. And then I just want to talk for a little bit about some other stuff. I've gotten a lot of sad news this week. A lot of it actually just in a lot of different areas, which is unfortunate. Everything's just been kind of coming my way, and there's just been a lot of bad news, sad news, like I said, and just a lot of stuff that I'm trying to process and think about and work with, basically. I might talk about that a bit later, I might not, I don't know. I'm so lucky that, like, I feel very comfortable talking to you guys. You're all so incredibly kind and understanding. The amount of messages I get on literally everywhere, Instagram particularly, blows me away. I just want to say thank you if I haven't been able to answer you yet, just because of everything going on, but it's really appreciated, and I yeah, my heart just is always almost bursting because you guys are just so nice, so thank you. Probably the first thing right off the bat is that I am tired of this glow that I get in every single video clip that I film because it is so hot in here. It is so hot. I don't think this building really has a lot of insulation and it gets extremely warm in here. Right now it is over 30 degrees inside and I don't deal with the heat very well. I'm trying my best, but I just get extremely warm even just sitting here doing nothing. So that's something as well that's kind of making everything a little bit more swampish and bogged down and harder to deal with. But I want to talk about books very quickly because I am in such a chatty mood about stuff and I just want to talk. I think I was so busy this week that I didn't even say what Dark Matter by Blake Crouch was about. It is the very popular sci-fi in which we are following this man named Jason, and he has a life, he has a lovely wife, he has a lovely son. Unfortunately, one night he leaves his house, gets abducted, and then essentially wakes up in a different world, or in a world that is not his world. So from there we kind of find out that this book deals with a lot of quantum-y sci-fi elements that aren't particularly sci-fi because there's a lot of research done on it, but this book did really disappoint me. I think, yeah, I ended up giving it a generous 3.5 stars because the mystery I guessed immediately as soon as it was mentioned, and then there was only kind of one plot twist after that that I was not impressed with because that was kind of easily visible as well. I just didn't feel attached to anyone in this book. I didn't care about the consequences. I didn't care about the bad things happening to Jason. I thought it was really weak, and I was kind of expecting something more than just this one huge concentrated element sci-fi thing in this book, and that's unfortunately the only thing that I got. So I gave it 3.5 stars. I don't know if I would be interested to read any more of Blake Crouch's work just because this was really a big letdown for me. I think it was a letdown too because I'd heard so many people saying really good things about it, and I love sci-fi and I always have really big hopes for sci-fi, so this unfortunately just didn't do it for me. The next book that I finished, I talked about You a little bit. I think I did decide in the end, you know what, I don't really want to cut anything out from this clip. I just want it to be a really nice, realistic sit-down chat with you guys. So I'm just not going to cut out all of the stupid things that I say. But I finished You. I did decide to end up finishing You, and there was a lot more going on in it actually than I thought, which was interesting. I did give it again another generous 3 stars. I think I said in the last clip that I've just been feeling really mediocre about everything I'm reading, so I'll talk about it more in my wrap-up. I'll talk about all these books more in my wrap-up. My hair is blowing up. And that was You. Jade City, I don't even want to spend that much time on because it was a book that really also let me down. So the next thing I want to spend definitely a little bit of time talking about is Autobiography of Red by Anne Carson. I'm now 123 pages through, and as you can see, you can probably see, I am loving this beyond belief. This book is breaking me apart. This book is making me so sad, but also making me so impressed with Anne Carson. Everything she writes blows me away, and kind of one of the small things I want to talk about in here as well is the way that she formulates sentences and ways of looking at the world. Sometimes I feel a very deep comprehension and connection to the ways that my concussion has altered my perception of the world and of reality and of space and time, because you guys know that I am dizzy. I'm feeling dizzy almost 24/7, and within that changes so much about you. If you're someone who struggles with vertigo or with feelings of dizziness, whatever form that dizziness takes on, you know that it just completely alters your sense of yourself and of your surroundings, and it can be so disorienting, so strange. Sometimes you feel like you're not even a real person because you can't locate yourself properly. And there's just some stuff in here about the way she releases being, and kind of, I've talked about this before, but the way she undoes the latches of being within this retelling, it just makes me feel very happy that I don't know, that language can tell me where I am again, or at least tell me where I'm not again, and kind of tell me how to deal with that. So this has just been extremely comforting as well as extremely heartbreaking because because it's just so sad and so she just carves out a big hole where your heart once was. Yes, anyway, there's so much more I want to talk about with this. This is a book that I, again, could make a whole video about because it reinvents a genre. There's so many things going on in here, and so many different things in every category of writing and construction and novelization and poetry and everything. Just the genre. It is autobiography. It is an autobiography of a color, but the color is also so much more than a color. There's just so much going on that it's actually insanity. It's a novel in verse. There's so much going on with like the headings and the way this book is constructed, what specifically is said, who it quotes. There's a lot going on with Emily Dickinson, there's a lot going on with Heidegger, there's a lot going on with psychoanalysis, and just so much stuff in this book is insane. When I finish this, I would like to sit down and talk to you guys about it for a long while. I'm so happy that I finally have my hands on this book and that I'm about to finish it. I just look up to Anne Carson so much. She combines the two areas of my life that I am probably the most passionate about, be that English literature and classical studies, and she meshes them together, and it's just like I never realized that's what I wanted until I got to university, was studying the sciences, realized I was miserable, switched into English, very soon after switched into classical studies, and realized that those two things together and finding new ways of yoking them together and using the disciplines and the research and the content of both those faculties was all I wanted in my life. I don't know why I'm going on this very personal rant, but Anne Carson made me do it. So it's just so lovely to see someone excel in everything you love so much, and to just be blown away and amazed at how talented she is, and amazed at how much someone can squeeze out of the two exact couplings that you want in your life. So that is Autobiography of Red. It's gonna be 5 stars, obviously, and I am gonna need to find some new tabs after this. Okay, the next thing I want to talk about is definitely If We Were Villains by M.L. Rio. I've talked about this a little bit this week, but there's so much more I want to delve into it with right now. I'm on page 136. I'm on scene 9. No, is that correct? Yeah, scene 9 of Act, this might be Act 2, I think it's Act 2. Anyway, I'm at the part where they just had their after party for Caesar after their first kind of week of runs, and there's already so much conflict and tension and insane things occurring within this. I watched Lucy's vlog about this, and I agree with a lot of the stuff that she said. If you haven't seen her vlog, I love her content anyway. There's so much because we have these 7 players and we don't really get to know them before the story starts, even though they've already gone through 3 years of schooling together at this very pretentious school where they just study and perform Shakespeare. And we kind of get the sense when this book starts that they're all like chums, they get along amazingly, they love each other, they're just really good friends who all have this one common interest of Shakespeare. However, almost immediately after this book begins, so much tension and hatred and conflict starts to brew and erupt and kind of accumulate under the surface level of everyone's friendship, and I'm still not really sure why. Like, why this tension is happening, why this hatred is occurring, why this rivalry and madness kind of is happening, specifically in regards to one of our characters, Richard. I'm not going to spoil anything. I think I can talk about this probably. I know a lot of you guys are reading this book for our live show and for the Dark Academics Book Club, and I'm really excited to discuss it further because I think this is a book with like so much more going on under the surface than, for example, Ninth House, which was our last read, which you guys know I abhorred badly. I'm liking If We Were Villains so much more. I'm still really liking it, even though I'm not really sure why everything that's happening is happening specifically in regards to the conflict. However, it's definitely doing a really good job of making me feel afraid of the perpetrators of this conflict. It's that very, at least for me, it's a very scary thing. Someone who's very unpredictable, someone who can snap or turn like immediately with almost no prior provocation. So it's just scary in that sense that people are acting the way that they're acting. Something I'm also very kind of confused about as well is that everyone in our group of 7, very quickly we'll run them down. We have Oliver, our main character, who is in jail when this book begins. James, his kind of best friend and roommate. Richard and Meredith, who are in kind of an on-again, off-again relationship and who are kind of our main superstars, if you will, when it comes to Shakespeare performance. And then we have Ren, who is Richard's cousin. We have Philippa, who is really struggling to kind of pass her way along and remain in the program because she's not doing super well. And then we have Alexander, who always plays the villain and who just seems to want to get high all the time and eat as much food as possible, which is a noble goal. So those are our 7 people, but there's so many strange relationships between them all, and it kind of seems like everyone just wants to like kiss each other all of the time. All 7 of them have like strange relationships with one another, and there's so much going on back and forth between like kind of sexual relationships as well as people just blatantly like not being friendly. You could not deem it as friendly anymore what these people are doing to each other. So it's just kind of this weird, really tightly tangled, badly woven web where nothing is going to turn out well. A big part of me is also thinking that Richard, who is kind of perpetrating this on-stage violence and ignoring the blocking and just full on leaving bruises on people, punching people in the face, and like really trying to harm his classmates, I'm like, either Caesar, the play that they're performing, Julius Caesar, either the play is making you really crazy. What is that quote from Hamlet? The play's the thing. The play's the thing. The play's the thing? Yeah, thinking that like either the play is making him super crazy, or I'm like, are you method acting so hard that you want to destroy your friends and your friendships around you so you can get so far into the role and mind of Caesar and into this very tyrannical and dictatorial, dictator-esque mode and mindset that like you're perpetrating the same violence in your own life to portray it more accurately on stage. I don't know, that's just an idea, because as of right now there's been no explanation for why Richard is acting the way that he's acting. I think as a whole I'm really liking it. I'm loving how like in hindsight, after Oliver comes out of jail, he finally realizes that Delacour Academy or Observatory or whatever is basically like a cult, and it's not good, and it instilled and engendered so much arrogance and so much ego and so much leeway to be bad people for the sake of art and for the sake of performance and for essentially the sake of Shakespeare. The sake of Shakespeare, that's really hard to say. Yeah, so I'm also loving that there's so much about Shakespeare in here, and like the whole thing centers around Shakespeare and the emotions that Shakespeare presents and deals with in all of his works, and the madness and the tragedy and everything like that. I'm not sure which one of the 7 will die yet, because obviously in the synopsis it says that one of them dies, but I think a cool quote and a cool discussion comes from pages like 50 to 52 when they're talking about who is the essential tragic character in Julius Caesar. Is it Caesar himself, or is it Brutus, one of Caesar's murderers, who basically murders him not only for the point of murdering Caesar, but for the greater good of Rome? Richard says that Brutus can't be the tragic hero. James, who plays Brutus, is like, why not? Richard says because he's got like 14 tragic flaws. A hero's only supposed to have one. And then Oliver, who I believe plays Octavius, does he play Octavius? I think so. Asked that isn't Brutus's tragic flaw his insurmountable love of Rome. So there's just like a lot of interesting commentary going on about Shakespeare's plays and also how they transfer to people's lives. I'm just not really sure where this book is going, but I'm still really liking it, honestly. So that is If We Were Villains. The book that I am currently reading, I am obsessed with it. I'm loving it. It is scaring me. It's a very unsettling little book, and last night I was just thinking about it so much in bed that I couldn't fall asleep. I was getting a little spooked. Not really spooked, but unsettled is a very good word for this book, and I am loving it. I started it about, I think yesterday actually, and I'm almost done because it's a very short audiobook. I would really recommend if you're looking for a short, spooky, very strange and somber and just you don't know what's going on story, and that is We Have Always Lived in the Castle by Shirley Jackson. This is my first time reading Shirley Jackson. So We Have Always Lived in a Castle begins with two sisters, Mary Catherine, who goes by Maricat, which is like a very cool nickname, I love it, and her older sister Constance, who live in, what is it called, Blackwood Farm and Blackwood House with their decrepit uncle named Julian. This book starts with Maricat having to go into the village below to pick up groceries, but everyone in the village hates them, and there's this huge threat of violence and just this really like tense atmosphere every time she goes into the village because they all hate the Blackwood family and the Blackwood house and the two sisters who live there. We're not really sure why. There's a lot going on with Maricat, and the way that she thinks and what she thinks is very concerning, like very concerning. I'll read you the first sentence because I think it says everything about it, but it says, "My name is Mary Catherine Blackwood. I am 18 years old and I live with my sister Constance. I have often thought that with any luck at all, I could have been born a werewolf, because the two middle fingers on both my hands are the same length. I like my sister Constance and Richard Plantagenet and Amanita phalloides, the death cup mushroom. Everyone else in my family is dead." So yeah, so she's got a lot going on. There's a lot of really crazy stuff that you're not really sure what is happening. We find out that Constance, the older sister, was accused of murdering her whole family who lived in the castle or house with them, which was about like 5 or 6 other people. We find out that they all died of arsenic poisoning, and the sole survivor was their uncle Julian, who is basically almost on the brink of death anyway. But there's just so much creepiness in this book. Nothing is ever explained to you. There's huge cases of anxiety and agoraphobia and this like huge desire not to be seen or heard or to mix with any other people or to talk to anyone, and it's just this huge obsession with staying indoors, staying out of sight, and obviously there must be so much trauma there, especially because Constance was accused of murdering her family and Maricat is trying to protect her and keep everyone safe, but she's also working through so much, and it's just so creepy, so unsettling. I don't really want to give anything away because I went into this with a very vague idea of what it was about, and that was like the best because there's so many things going on that like it would probably just be better if you experienced them yourself, but you just kind of ask constantly, why? What is going on? What is even happening? There's a little bit about Shirley Jackson at the beginning of this book, the author, that I didn't know about, but she suffered extreme anxiety as well as agoraphobia herself, so I think obviously that's very infused in here. This was also the last book that Shirley Jackson wrote, and shortly, like very soon after completing the manuscript, she suffered this huge breakdown, and shortly after that I believe she died. So there's just so much going on. This was written in 1962, published in 1962, and I'm like obsessed with it. Like, this is a book, as soon as I finish it, I'm gonna want to read it again as well. I'm listening to this via audiobook, but there's just so much going on, like so much, and it's so creepy. Oh, it's so weird, and I am loving it. This is like a perfect 10 out of 10 Emma kind of book, so that is We Have Always Lived in the Castle. Before I get into the like literally one book haul, I thought I would go over my Libby situation because it's always fun kind of talking about what audiobooks I have in and what I'm waiting for, what I'm about to read. So obviously I'm still working on Shirley Jackson's book. I just got in the Southern Book Club's Guide to Slaying Vampires by Grady Hendrix. I don't know if I'm actually going to end up reading that one because I've heard recently a lot of really questionable and problematic things about the story, and I've also just heard that it's in general not that good, so I don't actually know if I'm going to start that. I also just got in Beloved by Toni Morrison, which I have here as well. I own it. I bought this a pretty long time ago, and I've been waiting for the audiobook to come in for months. I've also been waiting on Shirley Jackson's book for months. Beloved is finally in. I think this is the audiobook I plan to start after I finish We Have Always Lived in the Castle, and I'm really excited to get into this. So that is that one. This one also comes with like fun annotations because I found this thrifted, so that'll be really interesting to go through. I always love it when I find little notes or underlines or little strange things in the margin when I get a used book, so yeah. In terms of what I put on hold because I got some things in, very strangely I put this book called The Aeronaut's Windlass on hold by Jim Butcher. I really don't know why I put it on hold. I'd never heard of it before, but the cover looks strangely exactly like Treasure Planet, if anyone's seen that movie, so I thought that would be kind of fun. I also put What I Like About You by Marissa Cantor on hold, which is a romance. I don't know if I'm actually going to read that, but like my tags list on Libby is looking kind of sparse, and I decided I should probably give it a go because I've been reading a lot of dark, spooky, unsettling things recently. I also put this nonfiction book about archaeology and ancient civilizations and hidden cities on hold called The Lost City of the Monkey God by Douglas Preston, which is about this hidden city in Honduras. So that looks interesting. I put The Blood Spell by C.J. Redwine on hold, which is a Cinderella retelling. I put Carthage Must Be Destroyed by Richard Miles on hold, which is really funny if you know the Carthage Must Be Destroyed. Okay, anyway. I put The Bookshop on the Corner on hold by Jenny Colgan, which I believe is another romance. Or maybe it's just an ode to storytelling, I don't really know. And then because I enjoyed Death on the Nile so much, I decided to start with the first Agatha Christie, or one of them, the first in the series, called The Mysterious Affair at Styles, because loved it. Really funny, the one right next to that is The Hand on the Wall by Maureen Johnson, which is another murder mystery, young adult. That's the third and final book in the Truly Devious series, which I loved. I also put If I Had Your Face on hold by Frances Cha. I put The Fire This Time by Jasmine Ward. I put A Castle in the Clouds by Kirsten Gear, and I put The Grapes of Wrath by John Steinbeck on hold. So that's kind of everything I have. Some of them I have literally 20 weeks to wait, but that is my Libby library. And finally, the one book that I got in the mail that I'm very excited about. Like, I voted for this book. I wonder why I bought this book. I'm so happy it's here. It's beautiful. That book is Mexican Gothic by Silvia Moreno Garcia. I am so excited about this. It's been so long since I've bought a book like almost immediately after it came out, because I believe this was released on the 30th. So I ordered it. It's here, and I don't know if I can say this yet. I'm pretty sure I can say this because the votes are in now, so it's pretty obvious, but this will be our Dark Academics Book of the Month for August, and I'm very happy about it. I wanted to read this so badly, so I'm really happy it won. This is set in 1950s Mexico, and our main character receives this frantic letter from her cousin, her newlywed cousin, and she lives in this mansion, and basically the letter is beseeching our main girl to go and help her because something strange, dark, mysterious is happening. And then obviously she voyages to the mansion, and she finds out that there are really bad, dark, spooky, terrible things, especially with her cousin's new husband, with her cousin's new father-in-law, and just really dark, creepy, I'm assuming scary things going on. So that is Mexican Gothic. I'm really happy that it's here, and I can't wait to read it. It's also a little bit of a shorter one since our DA Book Club's books have been a bit chunkier. This guy's only 300 pages, so that's cool as well. And I am the Gothic at all costs. Alright, so I feel like I've talked a lot. I feel like I could talk a bit more. Yeah. I hope you guys are all doing well. It's July, it's the middle of July, it's July 10th. July is just always a weird month for me, I don't know. Like, it's my birthday month, but also so many things tend to happen in July, and especially this year as well. Like, just a lot is going on, and I'm not really sure how to deal with it all, but I'm trying my best. A lot of you guys have been asking how I've been feeling, or in terms of my concussion, and this past week it's actually been really manageable. Like, obviously I can still feel it, it's still here, I'm still not able to do a lot of things, but yeah, it just feels like I've made a lot of progress recently in the last 2 weeks, which is incredible. Thank you so much for asking. I've had a couple more doctor's appointments, and there's just a lot we're talking about in terms of next year at uni. Obviously that's very soon, the fall semester. However, everything is online, which really bums me out, and I just don't know what's happening with it all yet. I'm sure a lot of people are in the same boat. If you have a brain injury, if you don't, you're probably just wondering what you want to do about everything, and yes, I'm feeling that as well. And more than that, there's just, yeah, a lot. Many more things are going on. Yesterday was a really hard day. I got some really sad news, and yeah, when things are kind of bad, I don't know, I try to find the good stuff and just be thankful, even if things aren't good right now. Thankful that things were good in the past, and that I got to somehow experience, like, good things. Maybe I'll talk about it some more later, but yeah. I also want to chop absolutely all of my hair off because it's not helping the humidity and the weight on my shoulders and on, like, the back of my neck, and I have very, like, thick hair, and I just want to chop it, get rid of it. Every day I honestly might just cut another inch off because I just don't want to deal with it. I don't want to deal with it. I've only had short hair, like, at one point in my life. For most of my, like, teenage years, my hair was, like, down to my waist, and it just got ridiculously long and very, very long. So I chopped it all off, and I remember hating it. I was like, what have I done? And obviously it grew back because it's hair, like, chill. But now I'm, like, getting a huge urge to cut it all off again and have it extremely short because it's not, the temperature it's not, yep. I don't know what I'm saying. Anyway, it is 12:46 right now, and I think I'm gonna stop talking because this clip probably got pretty long. Yeah, but thank you guys so much for being here. Thanks for chatting with me. I really wish I could just sit down with literally all of you and we could talk about books for like 3 weeks non-stop, and it would be great. But yeah, maybe I'll think of doing some live streams or something like that, because then I can actually talk to you guys in real time, and that would be so nice. And I would love to do some of those, so if that's something you'd like to see, tell me. Anyway, I'm gonna go drink a big glass of water, and I'm gonna go edit this vlog because I want to get it up on a Sunday, because, you know, Sundays are for the vlogs. I really hope you guys are well. Thank you for choosing to spend this time with me, and I am wishing you all of the love, all of the good things, and yeah, I will see you very soon. I have some fun videos coming soon because, like I said, I've been working on them this week and last week and everything like that. So yeah, I will see you all very, very soon.